Hi, this is Dr. Grace Chen. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and MGR-approved EMDR consultant. In the past 2 years, I have facilitated 85 EMDR basic training consultation groups and over 50 EMDR certification groups. So I conducted a qualitative research using my own basic training consultation notes and identified the top 10 most frequently asked questions from my consultees. This series of short videos are designed for the beginning EMDR learners who starts out to try to incorporate EMDR into their daily practice. The fifth commonly asked question was, I can get my client to go back to EMDR after one or two reprocessing sessions. When I encounter a situation like this, generally I try to clarify the reasons clients don't want to pick up the reprocessing. Is it because the client prefer to talk through the week's crisis? Or at times the phase A might run really long and then you just don't have time to pick up the reprocessing. After all, insurance company do only reimburse us for the certain period of time. So if you are phase 8 going on for too long, then you probably just don't have time to pick up the reprocessing. So if it's because phase A is taking too long for you to pick up the reprocessing, then generally there are a couple of few situations. One is that I might be explorer and talking to with my client about their experiences after they left the session last time, how's their adjustment, and then discuss if there's anything we need to adjust in order for the closure to be more comfortable or in order to help the client being able to self-regulate better. So that's one possibility. The other times that client might be coming in and then say, wow, I noticed so many different situations. It has been changed. There are some new beliefs and new process or new reactions coming through. We will ended up privilege these positive changes and then celebrate the process and the progress they have made. And a lot of times I use all these positive changes and then install their positive experiences as their new resource. However, if the client comes back in and the phase A didn't even take off because client needs to talk about their crisis of the week, then usually this time what comes to the back of my head is that, how does the crisis of the week connecting to the client's maladaptive memory network? Especially if it's a very similar negative cognition, very similar emotions, very similar reactions, very similar triggers, then usually I will try to make the connection for the client and inviting the client to think about how this is really connecting to the same maladaptive memory network. And I will explain to the client that by going back to target memory and process through that, when what's stuck in the memory network is no longer there, then the crisis of the week are more likely less becoming the trigger or activation for them. And also at times I might need to explore resistance to pick up with the reprocessing because a lot of times the answer I get from the clinician is that the client just prefer to do talk therapy. And my explanation is that that does certainly make sense because talk therapy, especially if this is your long-term client, has become the adaptive information that between the two of you. So for the client to shift to a completely different therapy mode will definitely feel uncomfortable and unfamiliar. Therefore, it's also very important to explore to the client why they prefer the talk therapy, how and why EMDR therapy feel uncomfortable. Especially for some of the client who tends to be people pleasing, it is even more important to explore so that we can identify what stopped them from allowing the spontaneous reprocessing to go through, especially if the people pleasing part is it's the presenting issue.